Welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review, folks. I'm your fine host, Sarah Stephenson, and this is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi, guys.
So tonight we are reviewing an Italian production that came out in 1979 called Zombie 2.
Now, why aren't we doing Zombie 1, you ask? See, Zombie 1 was actually released in Italy, but it was actually George Romero's Dawn of the Dead, 1978, which was re-edited and different soundtracks put in and whatever, and obviously an Italian dubbing and different things. So we're not going to do George Romero's.
If I went ahead and reviewed that one, guys, I would be just saying the same stuff over and over again in the movie.
Yeah, so we're leaving Dawn of the Dead behind because this is actually Zombie 2. And it's Zombie spelled Z-O-M-B-I, not I-E, 2. Now, I was talking to Sarah a few moments ago, when it was released in England, the United Kingdom, it was actually released under the title Zombie, Z-O-M-B-I, I-E, Zombie Flesh Eaters. So it's the same movie. So you see Zombie 2, Zombie with an I, and Zombie I.E. with Flesh Eaters. It's the same film. Okay?
Yes.
It wasn't very well received back in the olden days, but it's received a cult following over the years because I suppose it falls in that category. It's so bad it's good.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. So, especially its interesting ending. Well, I should mention.
Well, very good, yeah.
Both.
It won't say anything about. Yeah.
The director himself here, he directed 2 versions of the zombie sequels, I should say, because they both don't really connect together. Like most movies that came out during the 70s and the 80s.
You're trying to say there's a Zombie 3.
Yeah, well, they were. Anyway, I'm just saying that they later on made another one that was called Zombie Free that came out years later, and which is directed by the same director.
Yeah, same director. Yeah,
but of course, like I said, they have split stories that different decades and different.
They don't join up,
and they don't join up,
which is good. They're standalone stories.
And also, guys, when I think about Zombie 2, if this was a direct sequel to that Dawn of the Dead one, it comes off to me as a prequel because it takes place before a zombie pandemic.
Well, that's probably why. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Produced, directed, and all that sort of stuff. Okay, here. Produced by Ugo, U-G-O, Tucci, T-U-C-C-I, and Fabrizio De Angelis. I got my tongue around those ones. Directed by Lucio Fulci. Okay, and he also did the other movie that Sarah mentioned. Written by Eliza Briganti. There you go. I'm getting through these foreign names reasonably well, I hope. Now, the actors, the cast, if you will. Tisa Farrow plays Anne Bolt. That's it. We did something with it.
Yes, we did.
What was that? Was that one of those sorority things?
The sorority movie we reviewed not too long ago, where the initiation of Sarah, I think it was.
Right, yeah.
And she played a character called Mouse. Anyway, going on.
Tisa Farrow is actually Mia Farrow's sister.
Yes, we mentioned this
in real world.
Yeah, we mentioned this in a passing.
Yeah, they might not have listened to the other podcast, okay?
True.
Now, Ian McCulloch plays Peter West. Richard Johnson plays Dr. David Menard. That's a lovely name. Al Cliver plays Brian Kurt. Oretta Gay plays Susan Barrett. Stefania D'Amario plays the nurse Clara. And Olga Karlothos plays Viola Menard. It must be Dr. Menard's missus. And the director, Lucio Fulci, makes a cameo appearance as Peter's news editor. Well, there you go then.
Yeah.
Now, some interesting stuff. Now, when I was looking at the budget, it says budget. It looked like a pound sign $410 million for the budget, and the box office was $3 billion. I realised it was a lira sign, not a pound sign, and I've calculated it back. It cost $230,000 to US to make it, and made about $2 million at the box office.
Quite right.
It scared me a little bit there. I thought, what? That's a lot of money. But yeah. So about $3 million at the box office.
Yes.
And about, $2 million at the box office, and he made about 230. So I made a pretty good profit on a modest investment.
Yes.
Not bad. Anything else I want to talk about?
Yes, another thing, guys. While this movie has no connection to the other zombie movies like that George A. Romero made, it comes off as an okay movie on its own. You know, both of them coming off as okay in my book, but not as good as George A. Romero's work, obviously.
Now, I normally say this sort of stuff for last, but I'll mention now. The filming took place in Latina, Italy. As well as in New York City and Santo Domingo. Yeah. So you had 3 locations. So considering it had 3 locations, they kept the budget really nice and tight.
Yeah, despite being filmed by an Italian director, he managed to make this was attracting American market, if that's a term, wouldn't you say? Considering it was
Americanish, because they had the part where it came supposedly into New York Bay there when the boat came in, so it had that American feeling, and based initially in New York, and then they did it somewhere else. Yeah, because they went to an island and stuff for the rest of the movie. So so they had Americanized it a bit for the bit of it, the bit at the beginning, and kept that sort of same flavour going through it.
Yeah, well, they were trying to attract the American market, in my opinion.
As one would.
Because when you think about it, that's the biggest market. If you make it in America, you make it everywhere, if you could. I mean, in this case, it did, and it became a cult classic to some fans out there when you think about it. Anyway, so shall I get into the story?
I can't think of anything else to say at this point in time, so I might as well jump in with both boots on. Just watch out for the zombies.
Sure. So the story takes place with this boat that arrives in New York, and these 2 policemen, they charter a boat to check the thing out.
Not quite. Okay. First, there's a motor launch coming into the bay. Yes. Appears to be abandoned
boat.
There's nobody on it.
Yes.
A bit like the Marie Celeste, but under power.
Yes.
And the police didn't charter a boat; it was a police boat.
Okay, chartered a boat to the police. They
had their own boat.
Anyway, they chartered their boat to this abandoned boat, and where they found a zombie, and it bit one of the police officers, while the other one tries to kill this zombie, but it then It was killed, but then it fell into the water.
Well, it didn't get killed. It fell overboard. You don't kill a zombie, he's already dead. Yes. And that's where the problem was.
Anyway, so they then found out this boat probably belonged to a doctor who is they keep saying that he's missing or something like that, or he has not been. Well, according to his daughter, she has not heard of him for a long while.
His father went on a boat journey to an island area somewhere, and he didn't come back.
Yes.
Bit easy to put that way.
Yeah. Anyway, so the media are wondering whether this foul play involved. And, of course, this body of the dead policeman is taken to the morgue, which we never hear from again till much later on what happens to him.
He does wake up, obviously.
Yeah. A journalist named Peter West, he asked Anne to help him in his investigation, stuff like that. Hopefully find out what might become of her father and what's this happen on the boat.
Yeah.
To look for answers. So they head to the where were they heading towards?
I'm glad you asked me. There you go. Then.
I wasn't sure whether it's Jamaica or one of
the film's set in the Caribbean.
Okay, Caribbean.
In the Caribbean. They have mentioned here a place called Matul, Matul, a Caribbean island. I don't know if it's a real island or not, or just made up for the film. I don't know.
So they head to to the Caribbean, and
There's
there.
already pirates there.
Funny. And there they charter a boat with this Brian guy and his girlfriend, obviously.
Oh, his wife, because they have the same
Wife.
last name.
Wife. Who are, I guess, real scuba divers who take photos of marine life,
Exactly.
Stuff like that. Anyway, so they buy the boat and ask them to help them get to this island because none of the natives they refuse to actually
They
go
think it's a cursed island.
because-
like the Isle of Dr. Moreau, all the creepy crawly guys running around half animals. Yeah.
Or the one from the House of the Dead movie
Yeah,
where
that's
they
right,
said
yeah.
the island was a bad island, not meant for people to go on, blah, blah, blah.
Weren't they right, hey?
Oh, yes. So we then go over to the island, and there we find out there's a big sort of illness on this island. And the doctor is told by everyone that it's a voodoo curse. But he doesn't believe in voodoo curses. He believes in what he sees or what he observes. And so far, it looks like pretty much like a zombie thingy altogether. And I like the other zombie movies where you often talk about, this is the only one that talks about, the voodoo stuff and curses and stuff. And here it does exactly appear like the ordinary zombie thing, But they bring out a little bit of the the voodoo history behind it, even though we already know the history.
Yeah. I did make a mistake. The guy who teams up with the go looking for the zombies, it was his girlfriend, not his wife.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry, my
So
bad.
I like to be correct on these things.
All right, so the doctor is trying to find out what is causing it. He's already killed, or he had to kill some of his colleagues who somehow rose from the dead.
Yeah, well, not being killed if they're dead.
Because he had to
terminate them.
Yeah, he had to
That's
shoot them in
better.
the head after they got affected by this illness. It starts off as an illness, and then it works its way through your system, and once you appear dead, then you rise, obviously.
A little bit like Walking Dead, hey? That's a good TV series.
He then shoots them in the head, and they burn the bodies, if that's the term.
Well, they say, they burn the bodies, so obviously they definitely won't come back.
The rest of the natives that were on the island have left, or even transformed. We don't know.
Yeah, I get the impression that there's one side of the island, there might be a bit more problems going on, and the doctor's on the other side of the island, and they bring people over. So I got a funny feeling that most of the island's got a problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they eventually, as they're halfway across on their boat, the couple decides to take photos of the underwater, and this is where they have this ridiculous nude scene. When you think about this, wouldn't you say, Mike?
Yeah.
Because the lady strips down to her nothing, except for some bikini underwear.
She had a bikini bottom on, that was it. Yeah. And as far as I know, most people do not go scuba diving dressed in nothing, because obviously the scuba, the diving suit,
the diving suit is there for
helps protect
protection
the body
against
from rocks, coral. Nasty fish going to bite you,
exactly.
that sort of stuff. So
yes, that's why it's there. I mean, I think they're trying to.
It's good for the film. That's about it.
It's good for the film, but it's not good practically if you end up scratching yourself against a coral and bleeding.
Yeah.
Well, you do encounter a bit of a shark. Also a zombie.
And actually, if you rub against a shark, even accidentally, and he doesn't bite you, their skin's really, really rough, and it would actually damage your skin, and you start bleeding, and that might aggravate the shark and will eat you anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a skin risk.
Yeah, so you cover up, guys.
Yes, don't go by the movies. Just
No.
remember safety first.
We watched Jaws. I watched Jaws with my other daughter the other day. So we haven't seen it for an awful long time.
Oh yeah, it's a classic.
And, that's a nice fishy.
Anyway, our group continues. They also count a zombie that's underwater.
He's walking around down
and
there. Yeah.
She eventually does get away from it. It doesn't bite her, obviously, but it does. I think it starts getting attacked by the shark, obviously, and I don't know if the shark gets bitten by it or something.
Hey, did that make it a zombie shark?
Don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, she gets on board, tries to explain what she's seen, but it's still hard to swallow. And soon enough, I think they ran out of petrol at this point, and they decided to get onto
something went wrong with it, petrol or
running out.
Engine problem or
I
something.
think it was an engine problem. I think it was. Anyway, they get onto the island and they go.
No, I think they hit something. Propeller blade or something. I can't remember. It's something weird. Yeah.
Anyway, they get there and they decide to try to locate the doctor to help them probably with their mechanical issue. Maybe they might find something that might fix their engine, obviously. So they eventually meet him, or one of his offsiders meets them and takes them to where the doctor is. He goes on to explain how this is not a really good island, and he then tells them to go back to where his wife is, in a sort of nice hut of sorts, but she...
A little bit of a drive away from the clinic. Yeah.
He tells them to go there, and we watch them getting to a jeep and get over to the place, obviously. But when we get over there, we find his wife being chewed to death by the Zeds.
Yeah, they got in earlier on.
Yeah, they came in there.
Oh, well, never mind.
Yeah.
She wanted to leave the island one way or the other.
Yeah, I think she knew that there was dangers on the island, obviously. Anyway, the Zeds are running around all over the island, obviously. So it's a dangerous environment. Anyway, once the team see her being mauled to death by these Zeds, they then get back into the car and they crash the car, I think, or total it.
They get attacked by some zombies and they lose control of the jeep.
Yeah. They then have to make their way on foot, and halfway across it, they come across this sort of Spanish graveyard.
Conquistador graveyard. Yeah.
Supposedly, where some settlers years ago, back in the olden days, they settled in Jamaica and the natives killed them and probably cursed their bodies.
Don't know. But anyway, they start to wake up. Why have they woken up now?
I don't know. You have to direct to that. Anyway, they then settle there, which I think is the worst place you could take a nap at such a time.
Well, they didn't know it was a graveyard when they fell down the ground because it's overgrown of vines and little bushes and stuff. And then they realised they were in a Conquistador era graveyard, especially when the ground started moving.
Anyway, I like to think the island, it's cursed by an ancient, probably one of those ancient zombie curses that you cannot break because the long witch doctors probably passed away and there was no way of reversing the curse.
Exactly.
Anyway, so they get attacked. Brian's girlfriend gets killed while he's trying to help the others get away. He's a little upset at this point, and they quickly try to get away, obviously.
Didn't she ever break a leg or something for a wit? Try to save her or something?
No, that was Peter. He broke his leg.
That's right, Peter. Yeah,
and he and they kind of developed a little bit of feelings. She even goes on to saying, "Well, what will happen if we never get back to America?" And he says, "We'll get back to America." Blah blah blah. Now, what awaits them? Well, I don't want to tell them just yet. Right, yeah. Anyway, so we then they then head off back through the woods, and soon enough they arrive at the
grandma's house
at the clinic and tell them. Oh, I should mention the clinic is actually a converted church.
Yeah, an old chapel church.
Old chapel.
Yeah, whatever.
Anyway, they then arrive there and they tell the doctor what they've seen.
You won't be seeing your wife for dinner. Yeah.
No. And he goes on to explain that how his colleagues, including Anne's father, who worked for him, or he worked for them, I'm not sure, who they contracted a virus, and that virus made them die and come back to life. And this is and he can't work it out what's causing it, obviously. And anyway, they then decide to protect themselves against these Zeds coming to their clinic. It's about to get into a sort of a siege situation, right?
Somewhat, yeah.
So they then load themselves up with gasoline bottles and stuff like
cocktails,
that. And of course, some of the Zeds, especially ones that got already bitten, weren't shot by the doctor yet, but they end up waking up and biting one of his offsiders, including the nurse, and including his man.
They're running out of people here.
Yeah, he also gets bitten too. Anyway, soon enough, we're left with Brian and Peter and Anne to fight off the Zeds. They use the cocktails, weapons, the guns, and stuff like that. as fighting them off as best they can. And of course, they eventually escape out of the chapel. And of course, they then quickly make their way away. Obviously, they eventually fix up their boat, obviously, but we soon find out that Brian has already been infected by one of these.
And he dies on the boat.
He gets locked inside one of the rooms, and we know what's going to happen next. Soon enough, our two remaining survivors, Anne and Peter, they're about to head back to, I guess maybe to America, I'm not sure. And they hear on the radio the big bad news that we were expecting all the time since their journey to the Caribbean. It turns out that the radio is from America, where they stated that there has been a zombie outbreak, and it's spread it over there thanks to the dead policeman.
Yeah.
It's
so they
now,
didn't need to prove anything.
And now there's Zeds wandering New York and who knows where else in America.
Getting jobs in the pizza shops and whatever. And
we then hear the radio guy saying that Zeds are coming, approaching their radio station, and eek. Then we fade out and we watch some Zeds on the New York Bridge,
some bridge there, yeah.
Waiting there for their next prey. The end.
Whoopie-doo.
I know that's brief, guys, but that's all I can say
It's a short and sweet one because that's what the sort of movie it is. It's just get in there.
It's a straightforward one.
Yeah, find a few zombies, kill them, and then the zombies get out of control anyway, and a few people die, and everybody lived happily ever after.
I do admit that it's a good twist ending where the people back in New York didn't know that the dead body of the policeman was going to rise and then start attacking people off screen, obviously. And it's an interesting ending where the people who were in Jamaica in the Caribbean didn't know what was happening back in America. So they're going to be coming back and finding out there are Zeds walking every street corner like streetwalkers. I know it's disgusting, but there it is.
Whatever.
Anyway, that's the movie, obviously.
Okay, now just getting back to the original one, Zombie 1, which was
Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead, which was remade for now here's a bit of information. The movie Zombie was the original one of the Dawn of the Dead, whatever. Had been edited by Dario Argento and given the new score by an Italian band, Goblin. So they replaced the musical score and whatever. And it proved successful upon its release in Italy. And as Italian copyright law allows any film to be marketed as a sequel to another work, the film was quickly greenlit and financed by the producer Fabrizio De Angelis, and the rest is history. They made the movie. So there you go then.
Yeah, I think that when you think about it, when they did the Return of the Living Dead, one, that one was done by a few people who worked on George A. Romero's, Night of the Living Dead's, movie franchise. So this is not the only Zed movie that kind of took away tried to gain a little bit of marketability by using George A. Romero's work to try to promote their own work, obviously.
Now, here's something. Screenwriter. Dardano Sassetti had worked with Fulci in some other film, on some other films, and since the initial script of Zombie 2 was originally titled Nightmare Island, that's a working title. He was influenced by, I said the island of Dr. Moreau, and he mentioned he was influenced by the island of Dr. Moreau. That was one of the influences when he was doing it. That's and also a movie called I Walked with a Zombie. The Walking Dead, or Voodoo Island, which is the same name, so I've got all these movies in my collection. I love the old zombie movies.
I get it.
But he worked on, but he was influenced by the old zombie flicks, which is really, really good. I just love them.
Well, it is the only time we've seen a zombie movie where they actually brought in zombie voodoo, lore, or a little bit of stuff from that
zombie
sort of genre.
Movies, the original one were about Caribbean and other places like that where zombie culture was there, and they actually did that sort of thing, and that was part of their spiritual belief. They could actually do these good groovy things. They had a really weird sort of, compared to us, it's a strange way of doing things, but that's where it all came from. So all the old movies had things happen in these little funny islands here and there, you know. Yeah. So interesting.
Yeah, well, it's the only time in this movie that they actually use the term zombie instead of calling them ghouls or like when they did Night of the Living Dead, they called them ghouls and stuff like that. But I think the whole zombie thing works on many levels.
They're not accountants and lawyers, are they? No.
Nope.
No.
It's like a lot of movies. They try to use a different word to describe a zombie. Yeah. Anyway, I did think it was... If it didn't connect to George A. Romero's work, it would. I think this movie would have worked on its own level, you know. But I guess they were looking for something to market their own work, to make it look more impressive, even though... We've already established, or at least George himself, he's established his own sequel, so he didn't need any direct help from other filmmaker sources.
Yeah.
But I guess it kind of helped him eliminate the competition a bit when their work didn't get very much coverage.
Yeah. Anyway, can't think of anything else. I'm just going through my notes here that I can throw some interesting stuff at you, but yeah.
I did think that
it's a good fun movie. I mean, it's not like I wouldn't put it on top as a fantastic grade A film or anything. Don't get me wrong, but as a good B plus movie, it's not bad. It's fun. Yeah.
I mean, it's not as good as Shockwave.
No, I like Shockwave. That's
Shockwave
pretty good.
was pretty cool.
That had what's it? Peter Cushing. Yeah, I love that one. That was really good. I love it. I've always loved everything he did, that guy.
Same.
He had a little way about him. He'd play an English guy or play a German without an accent, and you'd still believe him.
This does seem like, when I think about that particular movie, you talked about Dr., that particular...
Dr. Moreau.
Dr. Moreau and the other one, obviously. But when I think about this one, I think about Shockwave, obviously, where a bunch of people go onto an island and they don't know what dangers await them.
The writer got his inspiration from those movies.
I know.
That's where he got the idea to make, this is really good. Yeah.
Yeah, like if you get trapped on an island and all of a sudden you don't know what to expect, that's even more scary when you think about it. It is a shame this movie didn't get very much positive feedback, and all that stuff. But there it is. But if it was not a sequel or anything like that to the Dawn of the Dead, I think I would like it a little bit more better when you think about it.
Yeah. I was going to look at a few notes here. The reception's a bit average here. I can't make head or tail of it. It's not say here we go 70%, but they did get put up nominated for the Saturn Award for Best Makeup. Mm-hmm. That was back in 1981. A lot of people gave the thumbs up on it. One here says The Guardian described the film as the ultimate undead movie, praising its commitment to gory scenes and convincing effects, not by today's standards, but for then,
I did think the zombie makeup was pretty out there. I like the one where on the poster, if you guys actually look at the poster, Google the zombie, and you'll see the interesting poster of a dead zombie covered in gross stuff, and you can see his eyes covered in maggots. It's so grotesque and cool.
I'll go back. The Guardian's review was actually done in 2012, so it wasn't that all long ago. There's another one here.
Cool.
Daily Telegraph in 2013 included Zombie 2 in their list of the top 10 zombie films. Daily Mirror praised Fulci's directing, finding that he consistently made evocative use of particular shots to accentuate the film's action or horror. Yeah. So so generally, It's got pretty good. Oh, here we go. Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh boy, here it comes.
Approval rating of 42%. That's about right.
Yeah, I was talking about someone on on Rotten Tomatoes. I was talking to someone about Rotten Tomatoes, and some people were saying they think that the whole voting system in Rotten Tomatoes is rigged. Like
No, look, Rotten Tomatoes is open for anybody who wants to go in there and vote on it. And a lot of the voting is terrible. This is a bad movie or it's a good movie, so we're not being stacked in yes or no. It's just whoever. Look, if we watch it, we can go in there and we can vote on it.
Right.
So a lot of people don't vote on it. There's only 26 reviews made.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what it's based on. The average person says, I like zombie movies, didn't like it too much, it's pretty average, so they're going to rate it an average. Metacritic's pretty much the same. They get about 54. So, I mean, it's sort of like, hey, you're not everyone. So it's like us. We don't like everything. We all grade them down, but we try not to grade them down too bad.
Yeah. I did think the makeup was pretty cool.
Oh, look, yeah. It's passable. Yeah, it's good. I don't think it actually passed really close-up inspections, but it's pretty damn convincing stuff if you're not concentrating too much. Yeah. How's that? It looks pretty groovy. Yeah, I like it.
Agree.
Now, the important stuff. What am I going to grade that?
That's a good point.
Okay, for what it was and the period it was made in, all right, I always try this. There's no good comparing a 1970s movie to a 2024 film because the styles are all different. But for what they did and the market they were attracting back in those days, I think it was a damn fine movie. And, it was filmed quite well. The acting wasn't too bad. The makeup was pretty good. Plausible storyline. So I'm going to give it 8.5.
Okay. For costumes and probably prosthetics and makeup and not so much the storyline because I felt like the story was pretty straightforward for me, obviously, wouldn't you say?
But
which is not too bad.
The continuity, if it felt good, the story ran okay.
The story ran okay enough to make it work. And the actors they chose, not too bad, but scenes like the swimming scene, like in the water, flat for me, big time.
They did that sort of stuff back in those days.
No, they're doing it for the male audience at home, for all you male boys.
We do it because we can.
Yes.
It didn't add or take away from the film, but it wasn't necessary.
It was not necessary, especially if you're a professional scuba diver out there who would tell you no way you wear such stuff. Even the modern day movies, like nowadays, they make sure that they improve by saying this is what you have to wear when you're working underwater.
Well, they don't say that, but the point, if it's a really, really, really warm water, you say, I'll go in there naked. Well, no one's going to go in naked.
No, especially if you're going to cut yourself
you get a
accidentally.
Starfish on your willy or something or other, it's not really good, is it?
No. Anyway,
so up your bum,
I rate this not really about 8.5 out of 10 myself, guys. Right. I mean, I was a little disappointed with some parts, but I did like the twist ending where the people come back and realize, or not really, they come back, they find out the big bad news.
Yeah, the plague has already started.
Yes, the pandemic has spread.
And then they start a new season after that, The Walking Dead. No.
Anyway, Anyway, the next zombie movie, which we'll probably review next time.
We might do Zombie 3 later, next time,
Which deals with, it's, as I said before, that one does not connect to this one.
It's
so
a bit of a bit of a prequel, would you say?
Yeah, I would call it an action horror.
But a bit of a prequel to how it got out of control and how it actually started.
Yeah.
How a zombie virus started.
It turns into... It starts off as a bunch of scientists using germ warfare.
And that sort of stuff,
and then
it got out of control.
It somehow stole it and spread it on the island.
And it got out of control. Now, here we go. Now, eBay, yes, you can get it. It's for sale.
Right.
Amazon, yes, for rent. And it's for sale. No, here we go.
Yes.
Being old, watch out for VHS, Laserdisc, all of the above.
Right.
Some listings have it as 1979 or 1980, depending on who the hell put the ad in.
Yeah.
There might be later dates there if it's been a re-release as a Blu-ray.
Yeah.
So what I suggest you do, look for the star.
And look for the director.
So always that starring Tisa Farrow, Tisa Farrow, and director Lucio Fulci. Lucio, Lucio Fulci, Fulci.
Yeah.
Now, if you got those guys and 79 or 80, and it's Zombie or Zombie 2, you probably got the right film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you're living in England, it might be by that other,
the
other name.
The other one might be Zombie Flesh Eaters. That's the same film. Just check the date, director, and the actor. Yeah, main actor. So and then you can't go too far wrong. Yeah.
Yes. So that's Zombie 2, and
as well as
we will do our next one next time, the zombie free one for you guys. That one's a little different because where this one came off as more of a supernatural sci-fi horror thingy, the next one comes off as action horror.
Yeah, a bit more of an action because obviously it's
because you're going to find a lot of people doing a bit of martial arts. And in that one, which is different from this one,
is that the one where the zombies a bit more advanced?
They start talking, blah blah blah. They never shut up. Where the only other time we had talking zombies would have been the Return of the Living Dead one, obviously. And I guess maybe this is where he got his idea to make his zombies a chatterbox.
Well, they weren't very eloquent. They had some basic
dialogue.
Yeah, basic dialogue. Like they didn't say, "Hey, what are you having for dinner?" "Oh, I'm going to have a steak." No, nothing like that.
But
I'm going to have brains.
Yeah, that's right. So anyway, we'll do that review next time for you guys. So I think that's about it from us, guys. This is Sarah Stephenson
and Michael
saying see you guys around on Boys and Ghouls Film Review. Bye for now and have a good week.
Bye, guys.